Hello and welcome back to Off the Post. In today's video we'll be ranking the best free transfers clubs could sign this season so far. But before that, as always, please like, comment, subscribe. It's very much appreciated and it goes a long way in helping me build a small community on my channel. And I want to say a massive thank you to recently hitting 61 subscribers and 500 views on one single episode, okay? I never would have thought we would have hit that so early on this channel, okay? Absolutely amazing stuff and I can't believe it. Hopefully we can do that this episode, who knows, but let's just get straight into business, shall we? This is a tier list episode where we're ranking the best free transfers clubs can sign this season. On this tier list we've got 8 players and we've got 5 categories, okay? The categories are wow, great deal, good squad player, meh, and no deal. Okay, nice little shout out to deal or no deal, of course. Okay, starting off with the first player on this list, it is Callum Wilson. Now he's been linked with a move to Leeds United, and for me, he's definitely a decent squad player still. I don't know if he'll be good enough to be your main star in the Premier League. I don't know if he can get you 10 plus goals, but even if he can, come off the bench and score you 5 to 8 to 10 goals roughly in a single season, that is definitely a great deal for a newly promoted team in the Premier League. Now for me, with Callum Wilson, what you do get is the pace, the power, the good finishing skills. He is clinical in front of goal, but at the age of what I want to say, 32, 33, maybe even 34 at this point, I just don't know if he's got the pace and the power to, running behind the defenders and whatnot and sort of get into the right areas that you need. For me, I'm going to put Callum Wilson in a great deal just because if he's used as a squad player, absolutely fantastic. But if your main starting striker, your main striker in the Premier League, I just don't know if he's the right person in there. Do you need someone a little bit younger, a little bit more mobile in those final thirds? I'm not too sure. Maybe that's maybe a little bit harsh on Callum Wilson. He's a great player at the end of the day, and he's done some good stuff throughout his career with Bournemouth, with Newcastle, all these types of teams. So I do think it's a great deal, but I'm just a little bit sceptical whether he can make the right transition into a new team, into a newly promoted team at his sort of age. I don't know, maybe it's a little bit harsh, maybe it's a little bit harsh. Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, moving over to another player is Decore. Now he's been linked with a move to Steven Gerrard's El Etafego. Hopefully I've said that right, probably said it wrong, haven't I, knowing me. But yeah, I feel like they are getting a very good Premier League midfielder who can still actually potentially, do some good stuff in the Premier League. Obviously, he's getting on a bit now. He is also 32. So probably he is going to Saudi to, get the money and all that sort of stuff. Who knows? Can't blame players for that, like I've recently said before. But I still think he can do a job in the Premier League. So if you can do a job in the Premier League, you must be able to do a half-decent job in the Saudi League as well. An exceptional job, realistically, you know what I mean? We've seen players like Jordan Henderson go there and sort of leave after 6 months. Obviously went to Ajax, didn't he? And now he's been linked back to a move to his homeboy team, Sunderland. So we'll have to wait and see what that does. But I don't know how long Decore is going to stay there, probably like 6 months to a year. We've seen quite a few deals happen recently where players are leaving after like 6 months. Like, look at John Duran, he's just went to, what's it called, Fenerbahce after like 6 months at Al Nassr. So we don't know. I feel like, I don't know, I would have liked to see him in the Premier League, you know what I mean? Because he's a good player, and I reckon for one of those like mid-table teams to sort of lower Premier League teams, you could actually do with Decore in the midfield, because he definitely does offer you that Premier League experience. You know what I mean? He's tall, he's strong, he's good at shooting, he's good at tackling as well. I do really like Decore, and I feel like this move to Saudi is a bit of a money grab sort of situation, you know what I mean? But you can't blame him. I'm going to put him in meh low, just because, don't get me wrong, it's a good signing for the Saudi League club, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to probably watch Decore again if he does move there. That's just my opinion. Anyways, moving over now to a very, very legendary striker in the Premier League history, okay? A Premier League winner, an FA Cup winner, Jamie Vardy, okay? Now, for me, he has just been released from Leicester, and the story, the magical, the iconic story has come to an end after like 13 seasons at Leicester, and it's very unfortunate because you probably would have liked to see him in and around the Premier League again. He did have a bit of a shot link to Manchester United, but I feel like that's a little bit, I don't want to say embarrassing on their side for Manchester United, because Jamie Vardy could definitely still do it in the Premier League. But I feel like maybe as a squad player at Manchester United, he probably could do a job. But, you know, Manchester United, they need first team regular strikers, don't they? When they've got Højlund, when they've got Xerxes, you can't have Jamie Vardy to that list, I'm afraid. He's not a starting striker at the age of 38 as well, you know what I mean? He's getting on a bit. I just don't know if he can play week in, week out, but that's where he's been linked to a move to Rangers, and for me, I think that's the perfect move, because obviously new manager Russell Martin has came in and he wants Jamie Vardy on his wish list, and I feel like that would be an exceptional move, because if you compare that to like a Jermaine Defoe a few seasons ago under Steven Gerrard, I feel like them two are quite similar in their sort of playing styles. And maybe, obviously, Russell Martin coming in, new manager, new systems and all that sort of stuff. But I reckon Jamie Vardy in Scotland could do the absolute business. I really do. And I feel like that's going to be our first wow transfer on this list, okay, because that'd be absolutely amazing. Jamie Vardy in Scotland, I reckon he can score like 20 plus goals. I'm not even joking. I know he's 38, I know he's getting on a bit, but just drink a few Red Bulls, he'll be absolutely fine, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's all it is. Now, okay, moving over to one of 4 defenders on our list, okay, because this is very defender heavy, okay. We are moving over to Nelson Semedo, obviously just been released by Wolverhampton, and he's been linked to a move to Marseille in the League One, in the French division. And I think that's a fantastic move for Nelson Semedo, just because he's a half decent Premier League player. Don't get me wrong, he didn't pull up any trees by anybody's standards, but he was good for a certain time period in the Premier League. He did have a good 1 or 2 seasons at Wolves, but at the age of, I want to say, 30, 31, I feel like moving to Marseille is a fantastic place for him to move to. You know what I mean? A little bit less competition there, I suppose. And Marseille is a fantastic club in the sense of they've got a great manager in De Zerbi. They're signing some really good talents in the likes of Angel Gomez already this season, who came on a free transfer, I'm pretty sure. And they've already got a good squad in there, haven't they? Marseille, I'm pretty sure they've got like Adrien Rabiot, Maupay, Harriet Roulet, who else is in there? Benaker, I said that right? The old centre mid from AC Milan. So they do have some half decent players in there, don't they? Marseille, and I feel like Nelson Semedo definitely adds to that, and he definitely does improve that Marseille defence from that point of view. And I think they finished 3rd last season. So if Semedo can come in, keep them a little bit more defensive steady in the back, concede fewer goals, then maybe he could potentially help them on a title charge. We don't know. Maybe Marseille can compete with PSG next season. Who knows? I'm going to put him in a great deal, because I feel like that could be a real decent one for me. Okay, moving over to another player on this list is Kyle Walker-Peters, who's recently been released by Southampton after getting relegated from the Premier League, of course. And he's recently been linked to a move to Besiktas in the Turkish division. Obviously, they're managed by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and they are one of the top 3 teams in the Turkish league, okay? So for me, I feel like this is definitely an upgrade on Southampton, because you'll be going to a Turkish league club who are going to be, you know, challenging for the title each season. And for me, don't get me wrong, Kyle Walker-Peters can definitely do a job in the Premier League still. I'm not saying that. He's definitely worthy of being a Premier League player. But at the end of the day, if no clubs are coming in for you, I definitely do think this is probably the perfect move otherwise, just because if you can like compete with the likes of Jose Mourinho, obviously manager of Fenerbahce, and Galatasaray as well, why not be in there? Why not experience something different? And why not you know, try and play in one of those massive rivalries in the Turkish league, because that could be a good thing for Kyle Walker-Peters. He's definitely going to go into that Besiktas team. I can't say the club's name for whatever reason. I can't pronounce it, and it's really frustrating me. I've tried so many times. Anyways, Kyle Walker-Peters is going to go into that team being a main starter in that team. He's going to be the main right back, and he's going to help out the defence massively. So why not go in there and do that? You can be one of probably the best right backs in the Turkish league for a few years to come at least. For me, if I was Kyle Walker-Peters, if I can't get a move to the Premier League, then I'll definitely go to the Turkish Giants. Why not? Might as well try and experience something different, and I feel like it'd be a good move for him. And I reckon he'll probably transform that team, so I'm going to put him in a well transfer. Okay, we've got 3 players left on this list, and moving over to another defender, we've got Soufal, who's obviously just been released by West Ham. Now, for me, at the age of 31, 32, I reckon he can still do the business in the Premier League as a decent squad player. Don't get me wrong, I don't know if he can do it week in, week out, but what he's shown for West Ham over the recent years has been impressive, especially under that David Moyes seasons when he was there at West Ham, obviously. So he's been linked to the likes of Fulham, Wolves, and Everton, obviously managed by David Moyes. So potentially the next best destination for him could be an Everton. I don't know whether they'll go for him just because he's on the older side of things. I don't know if they've still got Seamus Coleman still there. I'm not too sure, but obviously he's not getting any younger, is he? So I don't know if they want to sign another 31-year-old right back, obviously. Don't get me wrong, they do have another youngster on the books in Patterson, I'm pretty sure, the Scottish right back, who's half decent, so maybe he can learn his trade from Sufal, we don't know. But whoever he goes to, I feel like that's going to be a good squad player, so I'm just going to put him in the squad player, why not? I feel like whoever ends up signing him will be happy at the end of the day, you know what I mean? I don't reckon he'll come in as a number one, but I could definitely see him being a good backup to those, to sort of play those lower league, Premier League games, to FA Cup games, to Carabao Cup games and whatnot. You know what I mean? Okay, moving over to the second last player on this list, it is Victor Lindelof. Obviously just been released by Manchester United. Now for me, it's a bit of a tricky one when you speak about Lindelof's time at Manchester United, because a lot of Man United fans have always asked to get an upgrade on the player. They've asked for an upgrade on the player for so many years now. They just, you know, a little bit, they just don't think he was good enough to play in the Premier League. And every time you watch him play, you've got to sort of agree with that opinion, just because he always seems to make a mistake. There's always an error leading to a goal when Victor Lindelof plays for Manchester United. I don't know if that's amalgamation of their defence as a whole and their team as a whole. I'm not too sure. But for me, Victor Lindelof, he's obviously been linked to a move to the Turkish league with Trabzonspor. Probably said that wrong again. I'm not too sure how to say these Turkish teams' names. I really do apologise. But yeah, I feel like in the Turkish league, he could probably be a decent squad player. Then again, saying that, I reckon he probably could do a decent job in the Turkish league, because he wasn't a bad player. And being at Manchester United for so many years, under so many different managers, you've got to be half decent, unless, well, I suppose there was an argument maybe they just couldn't find any suitors to afford him to get him out of Manchester United and all that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, I do feel like he will be a great deal for that Turkish side, because he'll probably come in as one of the better centre-backs in the league at least. Yeah, obviously he's still a Swedish international at the end of the day, so he's got to be half decent. I don't think he's as bad as everybody makes out, but at the end of the day, he probably isn't good enough for what Manchester United need at this time period, if that makes sense. Anyways, moving over to the last player on this list, probably the most controversial transfer rumour I've heard come out in the last few days, okay? Now that is Calvert-Lewin to Manchester United. Now for me, obviously he's recently been released by Everton, and I just don't understand this transfer rumour to Manchester United. Why would Manchester United try and buy Calvert-Lewin just because Dominic Calvert-Lewin hasn't been good ever since Carlo Ancelotti got sacked by Everton, and that was a good, 2 or 3 years ago now, and ever since then, he just hasn't got on with the other managers in the likes of Sean Dyche and David Moyes. For whatever reason, Dominic Calvert-Lewin just hasn't found form, whether that's through injuries, whether that's through lack of game time, I don't know. But for me, when, Manchester United are linked with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it just doesn't look good. Obviously, in recent weeks, they've been linked with the likes of Jamie Vardy and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And don't get me wrong, you don't always want to be linked, you don't always want to sign these big name players, especially if you're Manchester United, because it just hasn't always worked out. So from that point of view, it's a bit of a tricky one. For me, when you speak about Dominic Calvert-Lewin and what he was good at, he's good in the air, he's good at holding up the ball, he can run in behind, he can dribble past a few players, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, we haven't seen it consistently enough for like 2 years now, I'm pretty sure. He's just been riddled with injuries, hasn't he? And when you've got the likes of Beto starting ahead of you for Everton, it's not a good look, because a lot of Everton fans were discussing how Beto wasn't good as well, but then he did sort of find a purple patch in the Premier League this season, didn't he, Beto? So maybe he might be their starting striker, we don't know, unless they sign somebody else. But for me, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I just think it's going to be a no deal for his moves to Manchester United. I can't see that working out at all. You could make a case where he's sort of Premier League proven because he's probably had 2 half decent seasons with Everton. But is that enough for the likes of Manchester United to get them back firing into the top 10, into the top 8, into the top 6? I just don't think it is. Again, it's a weird one because if I had a starting striker scoring 20 goals a season, he could probably be a half decent squad player for Man United. But when you've got obviously Rasmus Højlund not scoring goals, when you've got Sergi not scoring goals, it's always a bit of a tricky one. So I just don't really understand this rumour, to be honest with you guys. I'm not saying he's a bad player, he just can't keep fit, can he? But yeah, this is my tier list. What do you guys think? Let me guys know down in the comments down below. Obviously, we're going to end off with some questions. What do you think about Jamie Vardy to Scotland? Do you think he'll dominate for Rangers? Can he score 20 plus goals? What do you think about Kyle Walker-Peters going to the Turkish league to Besiktas? Definitely said that wrong once again. I can't say that club's name. I don't know why. I'm not going to say it ever again, I promise you guys. What do you think about Callum Wilson? Can he still do it in the Premier League? What do you think about Decore? Could he still do it in the Premier League at the age of 32? And finally, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. What do you think about that move to Man United? Is it just a weird one? Do you think he could actually go there and be a half decent player? I don't know. If it's not Manchester United, where do you think Dominic Calvert-Lewin could end up? Because he's also been linked with the likes of Newcastle. Then again, maybe Newcastle is probably a better fit because, you know, under Eddie Howe, maybe he could get the best out of him. I'm not too sure. But yeah, there was all my questions. But before that, as always, please like, comment, subscribe. It's very much appreciated and it goes a long way in helping me build a small community on my channel. All the likes, the comments, all of the subscribers so far has been absolutely amazing. All the support on social media has been incredible. I just can't even get my words out at this point. So I'm going to stop rambling and hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you guys later on. Peace out.